your time and do your tricks. All I do is sing along. Yeah, I need you around for brighter light and firmer ground. When you believe in me, love is gonna set me free.
Good evening, and good evening. Welcome to the segment of the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I am your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. And listen, tonight we have a hot topic because my guest, Miss Tayra Garcia, is here. We have been challenged and called as therapists and counselors in the professional field of mental health, but we also are women of faith. And we just want to come and share tonight some things that church religiosity may feel is out extreme out there, or it may feel like it's metaphysics. But again, metaphysics is also part of science. So it's just the way things is. But we're going to come to you and give you some truth, because I know a lot of people have been asking. I've been called numerous things that's not so nice, because I use sound, which, and I use different tools such as the crystal sound bowls, and I talk about a lot of affirmations. So Tayra, thank you for saying yes. I do want to share with the audience, and before I let you speak, I do want to share with the audience, if many of you know that I just have that bubbly connection with people, and me and her met on a Rap to Wellness. We both were speakers at this event, and something she did intrigued me when she talked about the yoga. And I'm telling you, it was God who used you, and my antennas was up. So I was like, I gotta have her on the show, because it's just been something been bursting within me. If again, we got to try to experience different things. But if we know who we are, and I love it when you said that, you know who you are in your walk. So it doesn't even matter. But what we're in the field of making people feel better. So again, thank you, Tayra, for coming on tonight, and just give the audience who you are, what you do, and we're going to dig right into this segment.
So hi, everybody. This is a little bit different for me because I'm used to being, behind the cameras in a therapy room, one-on-one with clients. So I am currently I am a mental health coach, a therapist as well. I'm an intern, currently graduating from Howard University, where I'm doing my master's in social work, specializing in direct care or direct practice. With a focus on trauma and Christianity.
Woo, 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 woo. And honey, we did some research. I'm telling you, this topic tonight, we did some research because I think it's time. But I wanted to give the audience a quote that I saw you posted this week, and it really gonna hit home with us, because we're gonna go through a couple of biblical features who we would say in today's term suffered with some mental health. But you brought out a key one, and I also use this person as well when I'm talking about sound. You go to this person directly who you're talking about. So let me go into it. So listen up, audience. There's some good stuff you're going to hear. We ask you to like and share this momentum tonight, because it might be something that you can help. Because, we got a lot of these religious folks that just turn their nose up to a lot of things. But should we be? That's being judgmental, right? But anyway, we're getting to this quote. So Miss Tayra here did this quote, and I want you to really listen to it. The science of therapy, which in both of us walk into, is finally catching up to the beauty of Christianity, such as using things as affirmation and self-worth. I work with clients to develop affirmations and statements of self-worth rooted in faith-based principles. Now let me read that one. Let me read that a little bit again. I work with clients to develop affirmations and statements of self-worth. They are rooted, not roots, but rooted in faith-based principles. For example, I can seek forgiveness and healing just as David. Woo! Take a shot at it, Tara.
I mean, I think I posted that when I was inspired because I had, I just came out of a session where it made me reflect on how many of us are continuously sitting in a space where we think the idea of letting go and let God means that that I'm not good enough, or we think that the idea of letting go and let God doesn't apply to me or doesn't apply to us because I have to keep going, right? But letting go and let God is let go of the negative thoughts that we have in our head and let God's forgiveness embrace us. And there's power in that. There's power in this reality that, God didn't forgive, the jaywalker. He didn't forgive the person that, the fibber. He didn't forgive the stealer. He forgave everybody, right? He forgave all of our sins. And so it makes me wonder, right, when we're sitting in this place that we're stuck is as Christians, right? When we're sitting in this place that we're stuck, are we sitting in this place that we're stuck because we haven't forgiven ourselves? Or is it that we're sitting in this place that we're stuck because we think God hasn't forgiven us? And more often than none, I will tell you, and this is as a believer, right? Not even more often than none, I retrace my words, right? As a believer, as a Christian woman, I would tell you that it is we haven't forgiven ourselves because God already forgave us. He's just waiting for us to invite him into our trauma. He already did that. Jesus already died for our sins, right? So that's already written and that's already there. Where we need to catch up is how can I now forgive myself? And that's what we see in King David. That's what we see in Psalms 32, where he specifically says, right, when we're looking at Psalms David 32, 3 and 4, where he acknowledges the physical and emotional toll of harboring unconfessed sin, describing the experience of feeling worn out and groaning while living in silence. This recognition is called the burden of guilt. That is how the Bible describes trauma in our bodies. And when I think of that, right, that is a literal physical manifestation of what it means to carry the burden. And now if I change sin for the word trauma, right, if I change sin for the word traumatic event, that's really the Bible is writing, right, what yoga is now trying to catch up to, right, where yoga is like the body keeps the score, where science is saying that the body keeps the score. It's like, ma'am, sir, that was already written in the Bible. So let's talk about integrating yoga, movement, breathing, psychology with my Christianity, not as an attack to my Christian principles, but as a right, it's almost as a dessert to a 3-course meal that I already have.
See, and that's why I talk about integration, because that's where we want to go to. Because listen, let me explain to the audience. So, Tyra here, we again, like I said, we met last we're going almost 2 months ago. We were both at this wellness, which is more about the mind, the body, and the soul. We know all of those three things work together. Now, if one thing is off, everything else is going to be off as well. So you got to really figure out and point in and get in alignment. One of the things that I experienced from you was when you did yoga, and you did it from the somatic portion of healing. People left from there healed. And myself, there was some inner stuff that I was working with at the time, dealing with. I came home and I felt better. Now, some practices say we shouldn't be, because I want you to give the facts. Yoga is not a religion. Let's break those facts. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about that.
So there's nothing to argue about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga is not a religion at all. It is simply a practice that integrates the mind, body, and soul experience. And when we think about that, and we think about it in regards to the Trinity, right? Jesus, God, and the Holy Ghost, right? When we think about that, everything that yoga is trying to tell us is, I believe, is just the how to, and the how to guide to sit in that stillness that God calls us to sit in all the time, right? Be still, sit and be still. Yeah. That's yoga. Breathe in and breathe out. That's yoga, right? One of the beauties of practicing yoga is I am a human being living a human experience. And I don't know any other verse that says this more other than Proverbs 12:25. And so depending on which Bible you read, you will hear Proverbs 12:25 says, anxiety in the heart causes a man depression, but a good word makes it glad. Depending again on the Bible that you use, it also reads, turmoil in the heart of man causes a man to stoop. And so I love this version because stoop, if we look at that word from a theology perspective, and I'm not a theologist, so I'm playing with caution here. But if we look at the word stoop, it means to act out of character, to do something that could be rebuked. So let's rewind that for a minute. Turmoil in the heart, anxiety in the heart, distress in the heart, chaos in the heart causes a man to act out of character, causes a woman to do things that they will be ashamed of, that they will regret. But a good word, whether it is the Bible, whether it is Christianity, whether it is a good friend, whether it is practicing meditation, makes the heart glad, right? That is the epitome of a human experience, where we think that, oftentimes we think, I can't be quick to anger. I can't show anything other than I can't show anxiety because anxiety is anti-Christ, or it's anti-religion, or it's anti-having faith. The entire Bible is filled with figures that were sitting in emotional, distressing situations. And so if that is in a book, if that is in the book that serves as a guide to life, who are we, right? Who are you and I to think that we are above the reality of the human experience and the human condition?
Wow. And speaking of that, because, like I said, I was doing my research about this. Because, we trying to break these barriers down about, with different types that we use in our practices. It's not nothing that is because we've been trained. We were literally trained to do this, to help alleviate. So, for instance, it gave a list of different Bible figures. Let's go there. Different Bible figures that actually had some issues with mental health. And I'm not, Elijah. And you can get the story. I'm going to give you the scriptures that you can go and read up on it. Um, and we know Elijah was a mighty man of God, but at one point in time, he had a mental illness, and it come from his suffering, the suffering that he did. And it was, he was a true faithful servant, just fire consumed. Again, he has to go up against the Baal, right? So where could he ran in a fearful state. That was anxiety. that was it. He just, on a day's journey, I'm done with this, God. I'm just done with that. So what did that tell you? Take my life, he said. Take my life, right? So then even the son, Jesus, in his time, another person. David, another person. Nehemiah, another person. Come on. So again, what are we doing about this? So this is why we try to come together and give people the tools and stuff that they need. And it's not that we're using practices that you feel as though is under the norm. It's just that things that we have been trained in. She has been trained in somatic yoga to do yoga to produce healing in the mind and against trauma that a lot of us, like she just said earlier, we want to hide. We want to cover it up. But those are the things that's going to keep you ill. And as she just said before, you don't deal with these things, you're gonna be out of control with it some kind of way. So it's just how it is. But we talk about David, and I love the way that you brought in about David. You gotta think about that. He was a man after God's own heart, but he knew after what he did, he went through some anxiety, worrying about if his real story was gonna get out, which it did. The grief, the depression when a child died. We never looked at it that way because all we hear is, oh, he's a man after God's own heart. Right. But there was some mental stuff going on as well. And he struggled. He struggled with that. Now, what I want to say is I use David in another analogy. I use David in another analogy when it comes down to me using the sound therapy part of it, with using the rain sticks, using the crystal bowls, and different things like that. I always say it was the sound that tore those walls of Jericho down, right? They had to march around. Look, when I give you this certain time, it was a sound. And I often go to talk about when King Saul, when God gave that spirit to him, and David had to be the one who played the lyre to calm that spirit down. It's just the sound. This is what I use. And when I have people come in who will have anxiety, for those who just need a calm, to be still, those sounds, those frequencies actually can uplift the mood. So it's nothing spooky. It's just that you have to get yourself and get your base in mind. And again, as she said, she's a person of faith. I am too. I know who I'm rooted in. Right. I know who I'm rooted in. So these are the gifts that he has acquired us in our professions. Please, folks, grow to know what you're talking about, and everything is not of the devil. I just want you to understand that there is science and there is therapeutic things, and there are tools as we are working in these professions as professionals that help with this. So, Tayra, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And I want you to really pay attention. I want you, audience, to pay attention to this video that'll be showing in a few seconds. So we'll be right back. How you like that? So it gave you some tools. It's just like if you take your vitamin every day, why not check your mind every day? Because I know sometimes in the impactful, like we say, we use those words of affirmations, and we use those words of self-worth. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's not like you putting yourself on a pedestal, but it helps. It really helps when you really confident. Because today, even I posted something today on my post. I try to do encouraging things, and some people be watching it, and it's very impactful for them. But I even posted something today on my page that would make people really be grateful to what I shared. And it was like, thank you so much for that. Because as we talking about calm, so I broke it down as the analogy with the acronym calm: confident, admirable, loyal, and meritable is the superpower for today.
Nice.
One, I'm going to be confident, admirable, loyal, and meritable. And that's the superpower today. And there was I am, I feel, I do, I love, I speak, I see, and I know. And I wanted you to do it from the backwards, because in the first it says, I know. We're talking about that thinking, that mind. I see. What are you really seeing? Are you really seeing that God's nature and beauty all around? As we do the mindfulness exercise that day, it was like being still and calm, just watching around and see. And I looked at that a whole different new perspective. I speak. I'm going to be careful what I speak. Those are the different things. I love, you know, I love you. I'm sorry. I can do this. I do. I feel. I am. Those are superpower words that can really help you move and get your mindset together with moving into your day and moving into your purpose. So Tara, anything else you like to share with the audience?
So I want to share, I want to go back to Elijah for a minute, right? Because although, right, so it's important for us as we're talking about integrating yoga and mindfulness and other modalities with our healing, right, and with our faith. I want to talk about, right, where God sends an angel to Elijah, and the angel offers Elijah water and food. And if we keep reading, right, if we keep reading in 1 Kings 19, after God sends the angel to provide food and water to Elijah, who is physically and emotionally exhausted, then it's in that moment where then Elijah is able to travel to Mount Horeb, where he encounters God in a gentle whisper. And so I want to leave it with that, right? When we think about the power of yoga, the power of mindfulness, the power of having somebody, right? Like maybe God isn't sending physical angels down to us, but those physical angels come in modalities of yoga instructors, of therapists, of counselors, right? They still come in that form. And think about these modalities as being able to create space so that we can get closer to our higher power, so that we can make space to find that stillness and sit in wise mind.
Gave some powerful words. And I know breathing has a whole lot to do with that. Just breathing can actually remove some things and actually make you get centered and aligned. Again, because everything's in that heart, right? Everything is in that heart. When it says what's in his heart, so is he thinking, right? That's what it says. So I'll leave this tonight. And this is just a little quick exercise that I want you embrace tonight. and make this a note to yourself. Life is tough, but so are you. Life is tough, but so are you. And I just, as we got, you got to connect, you got to elevate, and there's mindfulness. So a quick little exercise that I wanted to get you to set you in alignment for tonight, just to get you squared for tonight, just to practice. Just if you're not into practicing, you can reach out to either one of us. We can, we can help you. That's our roles. That's our profession. That's my side business as well. There's other things, modalities, and other things that I use as well. Mindfulness. So just being, as she said, being calm, being still. Be still and know that I'm in God. He's all surrounding, all with us, right? So the heart. So we're entering the heart space, entering your heart space. Awareness, meditation, which means focus. What you've been focusing on lately? Is it something to distract you? Is it something to build you up? Or is it something just, I don't know what direction to go with this? Visualization is another thing, and reflection. So these key things are what you're going to need in order to get this mindset. You know, as I said, we had a mental health forum last week. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. But it's when we have communities, we have representatives of the community, leaders that aren't taking the form of the mindfulness. Those are things that we need to be in practice as leaders in this world. So entering this heart space tonight, awareness. When we connect with our heart center, we tune to the fullness at who we are and what we feel love. We are love, happiness, and alignment. So right now we're going to focus. Now, Tara, can you do a little bit of breathing exercise for as you do the countdown with the breathing for me? Help me with this. So we're going to do it together.
All right. So as I count, I'm going to count to 4. It's called box breathing. So inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Maintaining that same rhythm. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Awesome. Now that's focusing. That's just what we just did. So we close the eyes, we focus on the breath. Now, as you was doing this, you could think of 3 memories. It could be people, person, or thing that can activate within you the feelings of love. Spend a few minutes focusing on them and bask in the goodness. Next, we have visualization. Imagine those feelings that you just took upon of love emanating the light from your heart. Remember, this is a center thing. Let this energy radiate from your heart and surround you. Bask in the goodness for a few minutes. When you were ready, open your eyes with appreciation. See, we're always thankful for what we get. We're always grateful for what happens. Now the reflection. When we reflect upon these things, whenever you need a lift, either it's a lift in your mind, your body, or your soul, recall and go back to those memories of focusing. which is meditation, on those thoughts, and then recenter into your heart space.
That was so wholesome. That was next time I'll practice it with you.
See, this is part what I do. We have groups for this. I'm actually gonna maybe before the holiday, because we know again the holidays get kind of rough for people who especially get down. And we know we got that seasonal affective or disorder that can come around with not being out, with the wintertime coming. So be tuned that Tara, we have to talk after scene. This might be something that we can do one night for people
Yeah.
to join in and tune in with us. So if you like that, write me and let me know if this is something that you want to do. Look, it costs a lot. It costs for to do things, but I'm offering this for free, anything to make people better. So Tara, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and tell the folks where they can find you, where they can look you up, because I'm telling you, get ready for the retreat, because you're going to be added on to the retreat next year.
Awesome. So right now I can be found on social media, Facebook and Instagram. My name is Tayra Garcia. It is, I also have, I'm in the process of kind of playing around with my own company of equanimity and community, where I just integrate yoga, spirituality, faith into my psychotherapy practice. Like you can't have one without the other, and I will always be an advocate for helping others. And you could also find me at Living Waters Wellness Center, and I do therapy based in North Carolina right now, but hopefully that'll change and I will be in the DMV area here in a couple of months. So Instagram, Facebook, Tayra Garcia. That's me.
All right, guys, you have heard it, who she is, where you can find her on Facebook. Listen, you will enjoy it. You will enjoy it. I'm telling you. I hadn't did yoga in a minute, but she has opened me up, honey. I got my little yoga mats going on up in here in this little room, my little sanctuary up in here. So yeah, you will enjoy it. And if you're dealing with anything, certain types of meditation music, because guess what, guys? Before the holiday, I will be having 2 meditation songs that will be out that will be released next month. So just be wise and wondering. There's already also I already have the meditation affirmation gardens. That is something that you can use as well. So you can download those on all streaming devices, all streaming places, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Deezer, Tweezer, whatever they all are. I can't even keep up with them. It's so many. But those are some things that I also use as meditation. So Tyra, I appreciate you for coming on tonight. And, we will be connecting with each other again. And I this is your first time on the show. And look, everybody, I do want to tell you this. This was her first time being interviewed tonight. So
I don't like being on this side of the camera.
this was her first time being interviewed. So I always bring out the first in people. That's just a gift. That is just a gift. So you did very well. You did very, very, very well. So again, thank you so much. But Tara, every night, every week, I leave from the show. I always leave when we talk about affirmations and, talking about things. So I have a mantra for this show. And I think for season 6, I might come up with something else different. But this has been my mantra every week. So audience, you already know that if you feel like you haven't been loved, just know that you are loved here at the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul podcast. Well, until next week, we are signing off. You have a great week in purpose. And listen, we have a special guest coming back next week with us. I'm going to let that be a secret, but you shall see. But we will see you next week. Until we come back again. Signing off, Michelle Bolden, Hammond, the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul.